What's up, fam? Brandon Walker, SEC Country, more Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast, back for another week. I did not get fired over the weekend. Very excited about that. So we get to do this at least one more week, maybe even two. What do you think, Turp? We'll keep going until they tell us to stop?
Yeah, might as well.
Why do you have your glasses on today?
I just want to take my contacts out, give my eyes a little breather.
Get a little rest, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look a little smarter.
Glasses makes a lot of people look smarter, not you, though.
I think I look a lot smarter.
No, not even a little bit. All right, today we're going to talk about Bob Shoop, Mississippi State's new defensive coordinator hire. The Bulldogs have figured out who's going to coach the defense. There's plenty of reaction from State fans, whether you're underwhelmed, whether you think it's a great hire. I think there's room for all of that. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about hiring Marcus Johnson to coach the offensive line. The recruiting list, the commitment list, has changed a little bit over the last 3 or 4 days. We'll get into that. Mississippi State basketball will try to remain undefeated as it goes to Cincinnati tomorrow. I don't know what number Cincinnati's ranked. They were number 12 last week, but they got beat by Florida. So they'll be top 15, something like that. That'll be a tough game for Mississippi State, the first one of the year. We'll talk about undefeated Mississippi State going to Cincinnati. And then our top 5 list, season's over. Going to get away from football just a little bit for a couple days. Today's top 5 list, the top 5 quotes from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The top 5 quotes from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You all would like to watch it. I like to watch it. We'll have that discussion today on this show. Let's go ahead and see who's checking in this morning. We got Byron, Mississippi checking in. Pistolville, that's Guntown. Point City is checking in this morning. Hello, Point City. Michael Busby. Good to have you, a marginal tennis talent. Thank you for being here. Landon Smith is here. How many more recruits is Mullen going to poach? Probably not many. He's only taken one, right? And it's a kicker. I don't really see the big deal in that one. If he were to land a Stephen Guidry or a Malik Heath, now you got a problem, but I don't think he's going to. I just don't think he's going to be able to do that. Hello, West Point. Hello from Newnan, Georgia. Hello, Dallas, Texas. Butch Bailey is still in snow-covered Hattiesburg. Yeah, my house is covered in snow, too. 10 inches of snow we got. Turp doesn't believe me, but we got 10 inches of snow. You can look at the map. I'll show you. I'll show you a picture.
I'm going to need some proof of that.
Hello, Alaska. Hello, Brandon, Mississippi. Randy Shumpert says, I never get a shout-out. Well, Randy Shumpert, there's your shout-out. Hello, Randy Shumpert. Randolph, Mississippi. Point City is here. A lot of Point City here today. Never seen Bobby Toomey in here today. Never seen you here before, Bobby. Thank you for being here. I guess Parchman let out early today. Stark Vegas. Yes, I'm still sick. I've been sick for 10 days. I don't know what it is. I'll be fine. Hello, Chicago, Illinois. Jace Chrisman. Yeah, somebody says, especially since Jace Chrisman is near perfect. Yeah, he makes the loss of a kicker recruit. Listen, we have a kicker who's got 3 more years of eligibility. We'll be good there. We'll be fine. Clearwater, Florida, down in the Tampa area. Chattanooga, Tennessee, by way of Point City. So much Point City today. Chattanooga's a beautiful area. Lovely area. No basketball on the desk yet? Maybe we'll have it tomorrow. I'm worried about Terp stealing it, though. Tupelo, Mississippi. You need to go to the doctor. Thank you, Bonnie. I do. I've just been trying to get through with NyQuil and DayQuil, but I've just been sick for a while. Have I made anybody else sick with this microphone, by the way? No, not yet. You didn't get sick. You don't even use this microphone.
She's sick.
Huh?
She's sick, though.
But she doesn't use the microphone.
But I don't know. She's on the show with you.
She's never been on this show. Point City, Morgan City, Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. A lot of Louisiana. I think Morgan City's all the way down south of New Orleans. Marietta, Georgia, not far from where I'm at right now, here in Dunwoody. Happy Valley. Yeah, well, they'll be coming soon. We lost the cornerback Bishop to Arkansas. We'll talk about that later. Daytona Beach. What are your thoughts on the Shoop hire? That's what the show is about today. Philip Grice. I will get into that shortly. When we get the show started, that's my number one topic. Raleigh, North Carolina. Hello. Little Rock. She's an Ole Miss fan. Of course she's sick. You think that's what did it? You have land shark fever? Are you sad that the Bear's gone? Is that what it is? Do you love the Bear? You're a big Bear fan? No? Nothing. Okay. She didn't Not even responding a little bit. Did you decide to skip the Christmas tree on your desk? It's at my house. I have a tiny tree, but I keep forgetting to bring it. My kids are out of school today. You know why they're out of school? Because we got 10 inches of snow.
Okay.
All right.
Whatever you say.
Preston Smith says start the show. Well, I have a rule. Whenever Preston Smith says start the show, we start the show. You ready to start the show?
Yep.
Let's start the show.
It's the More Cowbell Show, brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
That's me, More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country, coming to you live from the SEC Country studios. Again, my name is Brandon Walker. It has been a rough weekend at my house. A lot of snow, about 10 inches of snow at my house. Kids are still out of school today up there in northwest Georgia, so definitely an interesting weekend has happened for us. An interesting weekend has happened for Mississippi State. The Bulldogs have hired their defensive coordinator, Bob Shoop, from the University of Tennessee, and I hate that we have to introduce him like that because his years at Tennessee were awful. He's had much better years elsewhere, but we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about Bob Shoop. We'll talk about Marcus Johnson, the offensive line hire at Mississippi State. We'll talk about a little bit of everything today on the show as far as the coaching hires and what the coaching staff is looking like. We'll also get into the recruiting commitment list. It has changed a little bit over the last 3 days. 3 guys have kind of fallen off that list, either voluntarily or involuntarily, and Mississippi State's commitment list looking a little different than it was a couple days ago. Mississippi State men's basketball going to, where are they going? Cincinnati to play they're top 15 teams. To play ranked Cincinnati tomorrow night. It will be the toughest game for Mississippi State yet. We'll see exactly how tough it is. Can Mississippi State win that game? We'll see. 8-0 State. Cincinnati just lost to Florida last week, so should be a big, big test for Ben Howland and his team. And today's top 5, we're going to get away from football a little bit. We've been doing it for 4 months. Just once. I'll get back to football tomorrow. Top 5 quotes from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The top 5 quotes from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Turp, pause the podcast for me. Or you can go back and take this out.
Edit this out, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just everybody bear with me for just a sec. Just a sec. You're going to go back and edit this out, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm sorry. Something
That's
has I gotta check this right here.
What are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing none of your business. That's what I'm doing.
Fair enough.
I'm doing a very good job of it too. I'm doing none of your business. Okay, good. They wanted me to cut a new AutoZone ad, but they want me to do it after the show. Good. I thought I'd forgotten it. All right, back to the podcast.
Right.
Not Dan Mullen. Mississippi State has hired its new defensive coordinator. Mississippi State has gone out. Joe Moorhead, thank you very much, has hired his new defensive coordinator. It took about a week after Joe Moorhead was formally introduced as Mississippi State's coach. And I will say right now, I'm still fully on board with Joe Moorhead, still excited about the Joe Moorhead era. I think he can be everything Dan Mullen was and hopefully a little bit more. I think he's a very professional coach. I think the way he's gone about assembling his staff has been very professional. I can't say that when the defensive coordinator job was floated out there, I can't say that when we were searching for a defensive coordinator that Bob Shoop is a name that came directly to my mind. It's not. It is definitely not. I see some State fans that are thrilled with Bob Shoop. I see some online that are underwhelmed with Bob Shoop. And if you want to be thrilled, there's room to be thrilled. I think Bob Shoop has a resume. He has a portfolio. He has a background that you can get excited about. But if you want to be underwhelmed, he's got 2 bad years at the University of Tennessee. His last 2 years were not good. So if you want to be happy, be happy. If you want to be mad, be mad. There is room. Where you stand on Bob Shoop, to me, depends entirely on what you choose to do with his Tennessee years. what you choose to do. Now, let me go back through Bob Shoop's resume a little bit. He was at Vanderbilt with James Franklin. He had terrific defenses, top 25 defenses. He followed Franklin to Penn State, where he continued to have tremendous defenses and helped turn that program around. And then he went to Tennessee, and he got hooked up with Butch Jones, and that was a mistake. He shouldn't have done that because Butch Jones, Tennessee, has been a dumpster fire for some years. Anything that Butch Jones touches turns to crap. And that's what happened to Bob Shoop. He had 2 bad years. His first year, he was very injury-prone. He had a lot of injuries on the defense. And the second year, they were just outright bad. Before 2 years at Tennessee, Bob Shoop was considered an elite defensive coordinator. He was a rising star in the coaching profession. He was absolutely somebody that was wanted by most teams. He was a big-time defensive coordinator. But 2 years at Tennessee can't be ignored. It can't be ignored that when he got to Tennessee, they were not very good. And this year, they might have been the worst team in the SEC. But, I mean, how can you handle that? I mean, how do you figure that out? Like, Terp could be a very good producer. But if I were out here doing nothing but audibly farting on the air and stumbling over my words and being a terrible host, you wouldn't notice the good producer. You wouldn't notice that at all. You wouldn't give a crap about the producer because the show sucks. Well, the show doesn't suck. But the show at Tennessee sucked. It was awful. And it was because of the main talent. It was because of the main guy behind the scenes. It was because of Butch Jones. So I can ignore Bob Shoop's couple of years there. I can ignore that. Listen, it's not all that dissimilar to me from Todd Grantham. You know, Louisville, let's not forget, Louisville voluntarily let Todd Grantham go. Now, hindsight shows they were stupid to do it. But they voluntarily got out of the Todd Grantham business. They chose to do that. They chose to get out of the Todd Grantham business. And that ended up being a very, very good thing for Mississippi State. They got a very, very good defensive coordinator, a borderline elite defensive coordinator, because Louisville didn't really want him anymore. Well, now Bob Shoop kind of lost that shine too. An elite defensive coordinator that goes to Tennessee and the shine wears off of him very quickly. And he's no longer a rising star in the profession. However, Grantham came in and immediately turned around Mississippi State's defense, improved it 100 spots. I think Bob Shoop can be every bit the defensive coordinator Todd Grantham is. Every bit. His defenses at Vanderbilt and Penn State were outstanding. And if you can build a good defense at Vanderbilt, you're one hell of a football coach. Because you're working with less talent than the teams you're playing against every single week. This has the same potential as the Grantham hire to me. And potential is the key word there. It is potential. You can't point at anything Shoop's done the last 2 years and say, well, it's going to be a stone-cold home run hire. You can't do it. But you can say, if he is the guy he was at Penn State, if he is the guy he was at Vanderbilt, State might have gotten a steal here. State might have gotten a steal. I still think if you want to be happy with the Shoop hire, you can do that. If you want to be mad at the Shoop hire, you can do that. I don't think there's really a right or wrong either way. Shoop is going to have to prove himself at Mississippi State. It's not a slam dunk right out of the gate. He's going to have to prove himself. But again, Todd Grantham wasn't a slam dunk out of the gate. He had to prove himself, and he did. He went over and beyond in proving himself. If this guy follows the same path, Joe Moorhead might look like a genius. He might look like a genius. It's a risky hire. Joe Moorhead could end up looking bad. But I don't think it's – you remember Dan Mullen's first year, Carl Torbish. That was a low upside, high risk situation. This is low risk, high upside. Big difference. He wasn't the only staff member hired this week or made official. Bob Shoop, the defensive coordinator, but also Marcus Johnson made official as the offensive line coach. Marcus Johnson spent 2 years as the offensive line coach at Duke. He's been with David Cutcliffe for a while. And oh, all right, you can do this. You can do this. Just get through it. Marcus Johnson played and graduated from the University of Mississippi. He went to Ole Miss. That's what he did. That's how he chose to spend his 4 years in college. All right. So I guess, like I said, I'm still on board with Joe Moorhead, but this is one of those hires that if I'm in Joe Moorhead's office right now and he says, hey, what do you think of the Marcus Johnson hire? I look at him and say, you know what? If you say so, if you think he's all right, then I guess he's all right. I don't know. I just, it's hard to get excited over an Ole Miss guy. I'm a fan. I'm not an unbiased media member. If you want an unbiased media member, go somewhere else. I'm a fan. I'm a state fan. And I don't like Ole Miss. Nay, I hate Ole Miss. I don't like Ole Miss. If you went to Ole Miss, you and I have an issue. Okay? We can be friends. We can be buddies. But I have to make peace with myself in the fact that you've made really stupid decisions in your life. Like Landshark does a fine job over there, but the only college she could get into was Ole Miss. So how good could she really be? We'll see. Put that finger down. It's a very professional staff. It's a coaching staff that has a lot of guys who have coached before. You got the current head coach at Fordham has been brought in, Andrew Briner. You've got other guys. Mark Hudspeth, tight ends coach, just got through with a stint at Louisiana as the head coach there. It's a very professional staff, and adding Marcus Johnson is a very professional, mature move. Joe Moorhead doesn't care where he went to college. He cares that he's a good coach. He cares that he's a good coach and can coach this offensive line. Adding Marcus Johnson is a very professional, mature decision. One that's way above my head and understanding. I wouldn't do it. I mean, if I'm sitting there and I'm hiring somebody and they walk into my office, as soon as I grab a resume and look up educational history and get to Ole Miss, I'm politely asking them to leave and getting security. I'm saying you can hotty-toddy your ass on out that door. But, hey, that's not what Joe Moorhead's doing. Joe Moorhead's a little bit more professional than I am. And that's probably a good thing, right? Right? Hopefully? Maybe? Okay. If Moorhead wants him, I'm sure he can coach. I'm sure it'll be a good decision, and I'll look really silly very soon. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I want to see our offensive line getting 4- and 5-star recruits. I want to see our offensive line out there mauling people. I want to see our offensive line on a year-to-year basis being as good as it was this year. Now, Hevesy gets credit for having a good offensive line this year, but frankly, this was the best one he's had, and he hadn't had that many that were near this good. So if Marcus Johnson can continue what we had this year, home run hire. Recruiting commitment list has taken a little bit of a hit lately, and we'll look at that. We'll look at it, and then I'll tell you what I think is really going on. Jalen Reed from Olive Branch, a cornerback, decommitted on Saturday, I think, maybe Friday. Evan McPherson, kicker out of Fort Payne, Alabama, decommitted yesterday and then immediately committed to Florida because apparently Dan Mullen can recruit all of a sudden. Last night, Ladarius Bishop, a 3-star cornerback out of Arkansas, decommitted and immediately committed to Arkansas. All three of these have reasons behind them. All three of these you can justify. All three of these, let's just go down the list. Jalen Reed, and I'm not trying to, well, I'm not going to go that route, but I don't think the coaching staff really fought hard for Jalen Reed to continue being on the commitment list. I think he will land in a spot that will be a good spot for him. Mississippi State just didn't happen to be it. He was a guy that was recruited and committed by the old staff. The new staff really wasn't all that into it, so hopefully it ends well for all parties. Evan McPherson, a kicker. It's just ironic that after 9 years of watching Dan Mullen's kicking game just be atrocious, be mediocre, we finally get a kicker in 2016. And then he commits a 4 or 5-star, whatever, one of the best kicker recruits in the country. And it's okay that he's going to Florida. It's okay because Jace Chrisman just had an outstanding year, the best year for a kicker in probably a decade at Mississippi State, and he's got 3 years left. So we'll be okay there. Ladarius Bishop, a little bit bigger deal. Position of need, cornerback. We were stealing him out of Arkansas. Brett Bielema, for whatever reason, wasn't on him, didn't do a good job recruiting him. Mullen was stealing him out of Arkansas, and I think he will be a good player down the road. Chad Morris got into Arkansas and stole him right back. Figured out that this guy probably pretty good. And all credit to Mullen. If Mullen wants a guy from out of state, he's probably pretty good. He's probably going to eventually be pretty good. So Arkansas gets him back. It's hard to get a kid out of Arkansas if Arkansas wants him. It happens, but still, that one out of those 3 decommitments is probably the loss. That's the loss. Here's the thing about recruiting. Dan Mullen left Joe Moorhead in a really, really tough spot. A really tough spot. You're talking about Joe Moorhead getting here, and there's too many commitments and not enough spots. So instead of getting here and immediately trying to go out and get a bunch of kids, get a bunch of commitments, the first act of business is he has to look at his commitment list and figure out which ones he can cut, which ones to cull, which ones to get rid of, which ones to throw back into the ocean. He has to immediately clear dead weight from the commitment list. That's tough. That's hard. You're asking a guy coming in from Pennsylvania who has no ties to the South, and his first impression is to go to some high schools and say, well, I know you're committed, but we don't really need you. That's putting him on a bad foot. And it's not Moorhead's fault. It's Mullen's fault for leaving this commitment list so bloated. It's Mullen's fault for leaving this commitment list to where – because Mullen was going to have to cut some guys eventually. Mullen was going to have to let some guys go. We got too many commits for not enough spots right now. And asking a guy to come in and immediately kick kids to the curb, that's just not fair to him. That's not right. Devontae Jason, 4-star wide receiver out of Louisiana. Corione Harris, still out there, 4-star cornerback. Both go to Landry Walker High School. Both were high school teammates of Keaton Thompson. Both are 4-stars. Both are at positions of need. Devontae Jason has decommitted from Kansas. It is expected Harris will soon. We need to get both. Those are the two main targets left, I think, for Mississippi State. Those are the 2 names on the board that really make this 2018 class a really good one. We have a group of Mississippi kids right now that Mullen left. They're not going to waver. I don't think Marcus Murphy's not wavering at all. He's ready to go. He's going to sign early. He's going to enroll early. Marcus Murphy at West Point's going to be ready. Quatrevius Johnson out there in Greenwood. You got a group of Mississippi kids that are ready to roll for Mississippi State. They're not going to waver. We'll see what the rest want to do. We'll see over these next couple of weeks with official visits what they want to do as far as taking visits or going elsewhere. It's hard to ask an out-of-state kid to stay committed to a team if the coach is gone. That's true. But I think Joe Moorhead has done a good job keeping this thing in the middle of the road. And hopefully, if you add Jason and you add Harris at the end of this, I think Moorhead has hit a home run in his first recruiting class, but still a long way to go. Mississippi State basketball, 8-0. I want to believe. I do. I want to believe. I want to get on here and I want to rah-rah. I want to cheer. I want to do the maroon white. I want to say the Hail State, we just beat the hell out of you chant way too fast. I want to do all that. But I just can't yet. I'm just not on board with this team yet. They're 8-0. But the schedule was so disappointing this year. The schedule was so bad that 8-0 just doesn't feel all that good yet. Beating North Georgia, yay. But now we have an opportunity. Going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a legitimate top 20 team. Going to Cincinnati and beating that team or even playing that game within 5 to 10 points will be a huge step forward. It's a step forward we've all been waiting for 3 or 4 years, 5 or 6, maybe 7 or 8 years. We've been waiting for any kind of step forward, and we just haven't gotten it. And under year 3 of Howland, step forward is going to happen. It's just a question of when. It's a question of how thorough will the breakthrough be. It's going to happen. We just got to figure out when it's going to happen. Is it tomorrow night? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure we can go up there on a road game. I'm not sure we can go up there and shoot as well as we need to win. You're going to have to shoot well in a road environment. You're not going to get a lot of free throws. You got to play defense well, but you got to shoot the 3 well to beat a team like Cincinnati. And we haven't done it very well at all so far this year. Did it a little bit better Saturday. Lamar Peters. It was nice to see Peters rise up on Saturday. I thought Peters' penetration game was outstanding. And I thought Peters did a really good job for us. Lamar Peters, Mississippi State. But Tyson Carter been playing well this year. Other players, Abdul Ado played well the other day. you really can't take much out of a win against North Georgia. So this is the moment for Mississippi State basketball. This is a key moment, the first key moment we've had this year. You're 8-0. You're the only unbeaten left in the SEC. Can you go up to Cincinnati? Can you play well? Can you show that you're a pretty good team? I'm very excited about the opportunity. I'm very excited about the chance. I reached out. I'm going to have a guest tomorrow. I hope. He's traveling to Cincinnati today. I'm calling him in the first thing in the morning. I hope that former Mississippi State coach Richard Williams will be on this show tomorrow. If he's not on tomorrow, he'll be on Wednesday. But I want to talk to him. I mean, his greatest career victory ever was against Cincinnati to go to the Final Four in 1996. And he is watching this team. He's watched this team mature over the last couple of years from his spot as a color announcer on Mississippi State basketball broadcast team. So I'd like to get him on the show tomorrow. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow morning, and hopefully that'll work out. Today's top 5. I do this every day. I give you a top 5 list of anything you'd like. You tweet at me at bwalker_SEC. You give me a top 5 list, or you give me a topic. I'll give you the top 5 of that particular thing. Today's top 5. Listen, we've been going hard with football and sports forever. And I just thought we're going to take one day and just going to step out of it a little bit. Today's top 5. The top 5 quotes from Christmas Vacation. The top 5 quotes from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You love it. I love it. We all love it. If you don't love it, whatever. We'll be back to top 5 Mississippi State things tomorrow. Well, let me tell you right now, if it has a cuss word in it, it's not on the list. So, Cousin Eddie sitting out there emptying his sewer, or emptying his toilet in the sewer, saying that it's full, that's not on here. The ran at the end, hallelujah, holy, that's not on here. So if it had a cuss word, I took it out. Excuse me. Number 5, he's got a little Mississippi leg hound in him. Word of advice, if he does lay into you, it's best to just go and let him finish. That's Cousin Eddie talking about Snots, his Rottweiler. I love that quote so much. Every time I have a dog and somebody comes over and they meet the dog, I always tell them he has a little bit of Mississippi Leghound in him. My nickname in college was Mississippi Leghound, Terp.
Was it?
No.
I didn't think so.
Would have been cool if it was, though.
Heard better nicknames.
My nickname in college was Lurch, actually. Lurch.
Is that really?
Yeah, it was a hurtful time.
Mine was Lobster.
Lobster. Why Lobster?
Just, I don't know.
Because of your last name?
Red hair and my last name combined.
That's awful.
Lobster.
I like Terp better. Number 4. Every time Catherine revved up the microwave, I'd piss my pants and forget who I was for a half hour. I see y'all aren't laughing in there. I don't care. This is funny. Number 3. Can I refill your eggnog for you? Something to eat? Drive you out to the middle of nowhere? Leave you for dead? Terp, can I do that?
Sure.
You still haven't watched the damn movie, have you?
No, I'm actually looking at it right now. See if I have seen it.
I've never liked you at all.
Where can I watch it? I'll watch it this week.
I'll bring you the divd.
I'll just stream it.
I'll bring you the divd. Number 2. It is a bit nipply out. Well, you have your jacket on. Did I say nipple? I'm sorry. I just love that part too. Yeah, see, it doesn't work if you guys haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so.
Number 1. Surprised, Eddie? If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be any more surprised than I am right now. I think I've said that to you before, Terp. If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be any more surprised than I am right now. I've never liked you.
I don't recall you ever saying that.
You don't add much to this show.
I add so much to the show.
You are
just
really
not on subjects that I don't know anything about, like this.
Or football.
I know a lot about football.
Or winning sports games.
We win a lot of sports games.
Or rooting for a university.
National champs right now.
Rooting for a university that is quality in every sense of the word. All right. For the podcast, thank you for being here. I'll come back to you Facebook Live. Here I come. We're going to talk about whatever you'd like. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. Make sure you edit that podcast for me, okay?
Yep, doing it right now.
All right. Eli lost again. Oh, who did he lose to? Hey, Terp, you're a big Giants fan, aren't you? Big Eli fan.
Yes, I am.
Who?
Cowboys beat us.
Cowboys did. Yeah. Who's the Cowboys quarterback?
Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Dak Prescott.
Yep.
Had a career high in yards.
Talk to
300.
him when he gets 2 Super Bowl rings.
Oh, yeah. Well, as long as he gets a defense that can carry him to the Super Bowl, he'll be on par with Eli Manning.
Score points to win Super Bowls.
Did you notice? I saw yesterday a stat. Eli Manning, his career winning percentage is something like 501 or 510.
Is it?
I think he's 67th career in winning percentage as a quarterback.
Undefeated in the Super Bowl, though.
His defense is, yeah.
He is also.
His defense is. Michael Strahan is. And O.C. Umenyiora.
So is Eli Manning.
And Jason Pierre-Paul. And Ron, which barber they have? Tiki. Tiki was only there for one, though. Was Tiki even there for a Super Bowl?
I think he was there for the second one.
The first one, yeah. It's sad Looney hasn't been given a position. Yeah, well, DJ Looney is I would love to have a staff with guys with Mississippi State ties. I would. I don't know what DJ Looney's like. I don't know what Moorhead's looking for. I'm not really in a position to judge that. You know, if Joe Moorhead, who is tasked with winning games in the SEC, thinks somebody else out there is better to help him do that, who am I to say? I really wish that DJ Looney had found a spot on the staff, but he hasn't. And it is what it is. Or he hasn't so far. Houston Everett says, can I come on the show? Sure. Why not? Why not? Michael Clyburn says, get Chad Bumpus in there. As far as a coach, I think he'll eventually coach at Mississippi State. He's got, I think, another year of GA at Buffalo, and he'll eventually be there. Dino Ocello says, we played the kid in Ashdown, Arkansas twice this year. That's Ladarius Bishop. And I didn't even remember him, so how could he be that good? Well, you know, cornerback is a position that sometimes the best cornerback you don't really notice a lot because they don't throw to his side at all. Sometimes they don't throw to his side at all. So, I mean, I can see where a high school cornerback might get lost in the shuffle. But coaches know what they're looking for. If we beat Cincinnati, we should get postseason play. Yeah. If we were to beat Cincinnati, now all of a sudden, I think we'd work our way into the top 25 as long as we won the rest of the week. I think we'd be in the top 25 if we beat Cincinnati. I don't think we're going to beat Cincinnati, but certainly the opportunity is there. It's a big opportunity. If State wins that game or even competes well in that game, they're going to come out a lot better than going in. But if State loses by 25 or 30, you know, we are what people have thought we were the whole time. As soon as Eli loses 21 more games, he'll pass Vinny Testaverde. Wow. Look at that. Vinny Testaverde. How about that?
He's not losing 21 more games.
No, because he's not going to start 21 more games.
He'll start for the next
because he's
year
done.
Or two. He's done.
He's finished. He's donezo.
He had no O-line. He had no running back. He had no receivers.
And they have no quarterback.
How? How can you say that?
How can you say that?
Last year with a healthy team.
He's on my Dunzo list.
Right.
Dunzo.
Keep your little list. It's fine.
It's not a little list. It's a big list. A lot of people on my Dunzo list.
Right.
And you're flirting with it. Who do you think will sign on the 20th? I know Marcus Murphy is going to sign on the 20th. I really don't know past that, but I do know that Marcus Murphy from West Point will be signing on the 20th and will be enrolling early at Mississippi State. I know that for a fact. Strength coach, question mark. I don't know, Wade Glass. Strength coach is one of those things that you know, if you're bragging about the strength coach on your team, something's not right. Like, can you tell me the strength coach on Ohio State? Can you tell me the strength coach on Clemson's team? Can you tell me the strength coach on Georgia's team? I know the one on Alabama because he acts like an idiot. He gets out there and yells and all that stuff. Scott something. But strength coach, hopefully Moorhead will have exactly who he needs. Zach Dickerson says, don't like Eli, but he is a legend. He is not he's not a legend.
He is a legend.
A legend what?
Quarterbacking.
He is not. All right. Finish this sentence for me, okay? Eli Manning is a top blank quarterback in the history of the National Football League.
20.
Shh.
20.
20. Eli Manning's a top 20 quarterback in the history of the National Football League.
Yeah, 20 or 25.
20 or 25. You realize the bastard's not a top 20 quarterback in the league right now?
Well, I'm saying in his prime.
Today?
In his prime.
When was his prime?
When he won 2 rings.
Like a week and a half in 2007?
Won 2 rings.
Top 20. I can name you 20 quarterbacks off the top of my head better than him right now. Right now. Just bam. 20. And wouldn't even have to sweat it. I'm not going to do it, but I could. You know, in about 15 years, Dak Prescott's going to have a much better career than Eli Manning. You know that, right? Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I
you
don't
do.
know.
Wade Glass says Turp must be young. He is. What are you, 16?
23.
17?
23.
Word is that Lamar Jackson will skip bowl play. We'll see about that. I've heard those kind of rumors, but I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see Lamar. I see Lamar Jackson as a guy who wants to compete and go out there and finish on a high note. It would be great for Mississippi State if he didn't play, but I kind of also want to see him play. So, listen, I'll have this topic tomorrow or maybe Wednesday. I just don't think State's going to win this game. I don't think there's any path to State winning this game. I don't see it. Like, no coaches. You're not in the bowl you wanted. It's going to be very, very tough. If State wins this game, it would be very, very impressive to me. I think we need to win the game because it will give us a head start towards next year. I just don't see it. Eli could never fill his brother's shoes, says Michael Clyburn. And he's talking about Peyton or Cooper, like both of them. Turp is a Russian spy, says Sean Blaylock.
Might be. Who knows?
Spies don't have red hair. You can't blend in if you have red hair.
That's part of the disguise.
Right, you can't. Red hair gives you away immediately. No, there's no spy on earth with red hair.
Alrighty.
I wish I could make it to Jacksonville this year, says Boyd Barnett. I'll be going. More Cowbell will be going. Well, just me, actually. We'll Skype in. I'll find a nice beachy spot. You want to go with me, Turp?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Who else is going to Jacksonville? Who on here is going to Jacksonville? Bonnie, you going? What about Junior? I know you're probably not going. Who all's going? Who's going to Jacksonville? I'm going. I know Bob Carskadden's going. Steve Robertson's going. I don't think Brian Haydad's going. Jeffrey Simmons is going. Somebody says, show us what Turp looks like. He was on the show last week.
Was.
He put the camera on himself when I was Skyped in. We had a camera pointed at you guys that day. Did you guys do that on purpose?
Yeah.
Like you just said, oh, let's put a camera on us today?
There was nothing going on in the studio. Might as well.
I noticed it was focused a little more on Landshark than you. I have a feeling she did that. Like
I did not touch the camera.
She did the camera, and
I did
then
not touch the camera.
She pointed directly at her spot. She's a camera hog. She's all the time being on camera. She tried to get on my show last week. I wouldn't let it happen. Grace, if you really want to see what Turp looks like, if you go back to Wednesday's show, it's on the Facebook archives. You can watch Wednesday's show. I was Skyped in from my living room, and Turp was back here. So if you want to see what Turp and Landshark look like, it's right there. It was a sad day in more Cowbell history, says Lee Jennings. I know. It was rough. Doing more Cowbell from the stadium pool. That is the best idea I've ever heard. The stadium has a pool in there. If I can get a more Cowbell from there, that's golden, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I'll have to be shirtless.
Yeah.
That'll be disappointing for everybody.
Sure it will be.
Need a good reference to eat in Oxford. I have federal grand jury selection next few days. Well, Ajax is really good. It's good Southern food. There's a lot of good places to eat in Oxford. I'm not going to be the only thing bad about Oxford is the people. I just said I'm not going to be mean to Oxford, and then I said that. Trent Dilfer has a higher postseason winning percentage than Eli Manning. Hello, Guy Dawson. Did you hear that, Turp? Trent Dilfer.
Yep.
Trent Dilfer. Saving money for Omaha. That is a very confident man right there. Omaha is where the College World Series is played, Turp. I hope Jeffrey Simmons will be there, Chad Wade. I'm assuming Jeffrey Simmons is going to be in Jacksonville. I would think so. He's our best defensive player. I think he's going to be the best defensive player in the SEC next year. What about Dale Murphy not getting in the Hall? Oh, my God. How much time we got left? 3 minutes?
Yep.
So they got this modern era committee or whatever, and they 16 guys that get together and vote. Who the hell these 16 people are, I'll never know. Dale Murphy was the best player of the 80s. Dale Murphy was the best player of the 80s, especially the early 80s. From 80 to 87, the best player in baseball. He won at least 2 MVPs, I think 3, but I think maybe 2. He was a 7-time All-Star, best center fielder in the game, was incredible. Alan Trammell was pretty good for 20 years. Pretty good. Alan Trammell gets in, Jack Morris gets in, and Dale Murphy doesn't. Listen, I don't have a problem with Trammell getting in, but Trammell in no way can get in before Dale Murphy. Dale Murphy is like, how the hell is Dale Murphy not in the Hall of Fame? Can somebody tell me that? No, you can't. You cannot do it. Dale had his powers removed and lost his mojo. He did, his career ended early. I mean, once he got traded to Philly, he was done. But, would you rather be, I don't know. Like Alan Trammell was pretty good for 20 years, and Dale Murphy was elite for 7. It's a decent argument, but I just don't think Alan Trammell should get in for Dale Murphy. Like, leave them both in, leave them both out, or put them both in, but don't put Trammell in and leave Murphy out. That's ridiculous. He will get in with Pete Rose. Well, we'll see. I got to read this comment. It's very inappropriate, but did you see it? Bonnie said, my husband said if I get naked tonight, we can go to Jacksonville. So no, we're not going. That's pretty funny.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Need a BSR old and new meetup Friday night. I don't. What is BSR? Well, what is that? What's this BSR you're talking about? Not familiar. All right. Good place to stop. I gotta lead a meeting at 1:00, so I got a lot to do. Anything else? Anything else, Terp? You got anything to add?
No.
That's why you're the best in the
Go
business,
Giants.
buddy.
Go Eli. He's my quarterback.
Go where? To the top of the draft? Get you another quarterback?
Well, yeah, he's like 36.
Go Giants to Sam Darnold? Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Eli Manning's going to make the Hall of Fame. It's going to be the biggest joke in football
He's
history.
going to make it, though.
He's going to make it.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
Hall of Famer.
He's not a Hall of Famer. There's nothing about him that's Hall of Famer.
BSR is Bulldog Sport Radio.
I know that. I know what it is. I was being sarcastic.
So in case you didn't know.
I did know. Anything else?
Go
All
Terps.
right.
Go Terps too.
Somebody play my music. Are we not playing me out today? Did we stop doing that?
You want me to?
Kinda.
All right. Play it right.
You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country.